It's that time of the week again. Seth's here. He's been working. Give him a break. At least he's not in Raiders attire right now. A lot of you have been asking me about is this a Ben Roethlisberger retirement that we're talking about? Well, probably. Let's see if we can get into it. We're going to answer your questions, go over where Seth came from this week on the adaptation of what they're doing going forward. Welcome to RGR Football. Welcome back, everybody. It's Thursday. Seth, how are you?
I'm doing really well. Every time we do the intro, I'm just reminded of when I dragged Briscoe on here the night that you foolishly trusted me, and him watching that intro. And when it ended, we came back up, and he was like, that was awesome. Like it just makes me laugh every time. No, life is good. I'm excited about the playoffs. I'm on my way to Kansas City this weekend.
Are you?
Yeah. You want to go to the game?
I'd love to go to the game. I will be in Phoenix watching my daughter compete in gymnastics.
Nice.
Yes. I'll be able to watch the game, though.
That sounds slightly more important.
It definitely is. Yeah. I'll be able to see the game at night. It'll be fine. And so, folks, you'll see me stream from down there on the Locked On show as well. Welcome to the show. If you're new, like, sub, hit the bell, because this is what we do on Thursdays.
We do this on Thursdays. It's nice.
Yeah. I mean, you get to fill me in and give me grief all at the same time. It works really, really well.
Yeah.
And folks, it's not the only time. Oh, it's not up there. I got the wrong background. There's another background that would say, hey, that we do this on Monday nights for a Q&A as well. And you can see us, at least see me on the breakdowns. But, if I didn't put it up there, it's not going to show. So, right. Let the heckling begin, everyone.
Yes. No, we'll get there. You know what? It's no, it's not early in the season. Man, it's playoff time. Ryan, you got to bring your A game. I expect nothing but the best. It's fine. Josh and I just got done recording Times Hours without Nate, and it was, I don't want to say debacle.
Well,
but it would be descriptive. We were talking about whether or not Kirby would be a good free safety, the video game guy, mind you. And we landed on the fact that he would, just because that breath thing that he does to intake the ball, that's probably got like a 10-yard range. He'd be the greatest robber in history. The ball just comes in. That's what it was like.
And that's our gaming corner for tonight, folks. Hope that you're enjoying that.
See, and this is why Ryan doesn't play with us on Times Ours. You get 8 minutes in and be like, guys, we need to pause. We have not talked about football yet. This is a problem. Be like,
are we going to get there?
Football? All right. Yes. I knew we forgot something.
Oh, I love that.
But no, it's a good week. Playoffs. I'm trying to get into a playoff frame of mind. Just the Chiefs haven't played in the wild card round in a long time.
I know. And
it's hard to get into playoff mode, especially because the opponent is the Steelers. And they just got done beating them half to death. This is the equivalent of I don't even know, so I'm trying to think of some fight movie where the guy won the fight really easily. Say in Gladiator. Remember Gladiator? Russell Crowe? Great flick. There's a scene where he comes out and he's getting kind of famous at the lower level Coliseum. They call him the Spaniard. And he comes out and it's him against 8 dudes. And then he just, and then are you not entertained? It's awesome. Great scene. It's like if at the end of the movie, they were like, you've got to fight this guy again. And it was one of those guys. He'd be like,
huh?
I expected someone different.
Right.
But I know it's football. Any given Sunday applies because I see a lot of people, Big Ben's retirement party and all that. Let me just tell you, the Chiefs have lost games or almost lost games to worse teams than the Steelers. And weird things can happen in the playoffs. So the Chiefs are a loss away from their season being literally over. Now, every time they've been in that position this year, they've won. But they could lose, people. I'm just trying to I feel like Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo and Eric Bieniemy have a hard job this week. These guys are pros. I think they'll try. And I saw Mahomes give a great answer at a presser about something he's learned about the playoffs is like the importance of the little things, because every play is so important and it can end your season, is one of the ways that he framed it. He's like, it can affect the game and really end your season. Every single thing becomes so important, which is a great mentality to have. But it's got to be hard for players to not be like, so wait, we played these dudes like 3 weeks ago without Travis Kelce and with Tyreek Hill catching 2 passes and just beat them half to death. That's got to be hard to like get into like a different frame of mind and like, oh, guys, they're a great team. They're coming in here so that's going to be a hard assignment for them, because it does matter. I wouldn't have said it mattered as much before I watched them sleepwalk through the Week 18 game.
I think that's where the whole Roethlisberger retirement part, like anything you can manufacture. I mean, nobody's going to be Tom Brady. Like they're all against us and think we suck. Like, we're not going to go that far, but you do got to manufacture some inspiration, right? Just to quote Jack Black and Tenacious D. And folks, I do want to apologize. I was experimenting earlier. The new shirts came in and I tried to do like a YouTube short and it ended up going on the main feed and it was out before I realized it. So I'm sorry if I flooded you today. I just realized that I forgot to say you can get the new shirts in the store. I'm very happy with the way they came out, by the way. That said, I just got distracted. Sorry, Seth. Like anything you can do to manufacture inspiration, intensity, like you have to do it. And I always chuckle at some of the stuff that comes out of Tom Brady's mouth, but it's situations like this where this team needs it as well.
Absolutely. And honestly, now that as Chiefs fans, we've been in the position that the Patriots have been in the past, in terms of like, they're so good that the conversation is constantly, how do they stink now? How are they going to get beaten? How are they whatever? A great example is after the Chiefs-Chargers most recent game, Chiefs win in overtime. Most of the conversation was how impressive the Chargers were. And it's like, wait, what? And the conversation right now is all about how vulnerable the Chiefs are. 4 of their last 5 games, they played either playoff teams or a team that was literally a playoff team until the last second of the season in the Chargers, and then a division rival. And they went 4-1 in that span and barely lost to one team. People are like, I don't know, that's pretty worrying. And so I can see why Patriots, I might retroactively owe Patriots fans an apology. I'm not going to give them one, but I might owe them one that I'm never going to give them for being such jerks about like being doubted and stuff. Because you can see how the need to manufacture, like what Mahomes is sitting there counting his hands as if anyone doubts his greatness. But some people, that's how you get going. You don't ever underestimate the value of screw you energy, because that'll get you places. And that's where
it's so much nicer.
I'm a Baptist, so
it's a family show. Okay.
And so it's actually I was actually feeling kind of bad about saying that, if I'm being honest. I was like, that was a little edgy. So the big thing where I'm curious about on the defensive side of the ball, I think one thing that'll help them not have kind of that same, they seem like they were sleepwalking a little against the Broncos. I think one thing that'll help for that from happening against the Steelers is the existence of Melvin Ingram. Because I'll tell you one thing, Melvin Ingram is not going to sleepwalk through this game. No. Because things have been said. And so
a lot of things.
And not just, even Tomlin, who's a really good coach and is clearly a player's coach. And he was honest. He's like, hey, he wanted out, so we shipped him out. So I'm sure there's no bad blood between him and Ingram. But even Tomlin kind of made a comment like, we're all maybe not quite as good as we think we are. And it's like, ouch. So I think that'll help on the offensive side of the ball, or the defensive side of the ball. But they really do need to it's going to be interesting. I'm curious because that also balances out with the fact that for 3 years now, we've seen playoff Andy come out a little bit different. And so we'll see. We'll see. But it's hard to get in that playoff attitude. It's kind of like, okay, so they're going to get like this warm-up playoff game. But it's not a warm-up playoff game. If they lose, they're done. And that would be – I'm not a Super Bowl or bust guy because it's so hard to make the Super Bowl. But losing in the wild card round with the expectations they had this season would be a massive disappointment.
I have to agree, especially after battling back to this point. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I don't know. You guys, I know that we're stacking up on super chats and questions. We will answer some questions tonight. We want to get through the topics of the week, and then we will get to them. So I'm just stacking them up. We'll get to you guys in a little bit. For those of you that are new, if you do want to support the channel, and it does make it easier to find your questions, just throw them in a super chat, whatever you choose to give. We appreciate it. But if you do, please ask a question. Thank you, Scott, for pointing out the wardrobe, and it's not necessarily a jinx. I like that. The dude, I'll just hit this real quick because I'm sure Seth hasn't watched him. What's your opinion on Jameson Williams at the end of the first? I think that's exactly where he's going to fall to.
Who?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry. That's not being disrespectful to Jameson Williams. I'm assuming he's a really good college player.
Yes.
I don't watch college football. I just don't have time. And so I learn all about the draft right before it or right after. Like, I didn't know who Creed Humphrey was till the Chiefs drafted him. And then I watched his stuff and I was like, yes! And so that's fun.
You see what happens here, and because this is new for you, once we win the Super Bowl, this channel flips over to draft. So you're going to learn a little bit early this year, buddy. I hate to tell you.
I'm just going to apologize to the viewers in advance for how often I'm going to be like, well, I don't know, Ryan, it sounds like you should be talking about that. I am thinking about trying to ramp up the draft content at the newsletter this year, because last year people seem to really enjoy it. One thing I do like to do sometimes is pick one position group that I think the Chiefs will go after and then watch that. And I did that this last year with left tackles, and I spent like 10 hours of my life reviewing their snaps. And then they traded for Orlando Brown, and that's exactly why I don't do pre-draft content, because it's like, it's gone. The time, it's gone forever. Yeah. Where did it go? Wow, I set it on fire watching tackles that they're not going to take.
But you informed people in the process. It's okay.
That's true.
Okay.
That's true.
To answer your question, dude, I think that's where Williams will fall to. I had him right there with Wilson as 1-2 there, and I hadn't finished my evaluations in any way, shape, or form. But now that lessens it. And I do think the Chiefs would be in it for someone like that if they evaluate him the same way that I do, in that he is as much a game changer as Tyreek can be. I think that could be a possibility, depending on who else they have. Yes, he you'll find out, Seth. You'll watch.
No, so man, there's a dude that's coming into the draft that might be like that good, huh?
His athleticism is unique, and he's really expanded his game down the second half of the season, which was a question mark, I do have to admit. One of the things,
and he got hurt, right?
He did, tore his ACL in the championship game.
Oh,
literally 2 days ago. He declared today, though.
And that makes sense. Well, I think he just realized, I mean, man, and that, you know what, that's a good argument. I understand people want guys to play through and all that kind of stuff, but man, what a bummer, because his team still got whooped and he got hurt
without him.
And it's gonna hurt his, because it was during the championship game.
Yep.
And so he's gonna get drafted lower because of it. That decision directly probably cost him a few $1 million. And it's really easy for me to talk about like competition and pride and that kind of stuff when it's not a few million of my bucks. Because he's going to have a family. He's going to have, so that's just one thing to think about. That's why I don't begrudge when players sit out, is all I'm saying. Because this is their career. It's a big deal. Yeah. And I know that's not always a popular opinion, but again, it's not my money. Like, I'm not, I'm the
same way. Like, I would love to see it, but in today's age, especially if you're a top pick like that.
Yeah, I get it. And there's risk everywhere, but like when you're the risk analysis changes a little bit when you've maybe got nothing left to prove, like in terms of of your resume, and you're on the precipice of that dream job. That's a little different than when you're way back here and you're still building a resume towards that dream job. If you try to make it analogous to other fields, which it's not, because it's a weird field. But no, that's the thing. I guess the good news for the Chiefs would be is he will probably fall down draft boards because of that torn ACL. And really, a torn ACL isn't what it used to be.
Right.
So, no, that's interesting.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I learned something about the draft today.
Look at that. We already started. It's only January. You're so far ahead. I like it. And folks, what he was talking about is if you don't know Seth already, you can find all of his work at MinnesotaChiefsFan.substack.com, or that other one that just is too long for me to type out.
The bit.ly/Seth really hates money. Yeah, you could right now be reading about Melvin Ingram and his impact on the game that doesn't show up in the box sheet if you were a subscriber. I don't know why you wouldn't, because it's fun to read about. Melvin Ingram's fun to watch. snap in and snap out.
Yeah, it's just the experience. That's just pure experience at this point. You know, he can do what he needs to do because he's been here before. And folks, these things at this address below, bit.ly, again, bit.ly. RGR has to be capitalized.
I think that's what bits are actually meant for, like bit.lys, like rather than like Seth really hates money, like having like a full long thing.
The idea is to shorten things.
Right. I knew I forgot something.
It's a unique conundrum. This one's for you. Philip wants to know, after 4 seasons, what is your opinion of Mahomes, good and bad?
He's on the greatest trajectory any quarterback has ever been on. And that's not even that's not even controversial. I mean, that's just statistically, et cetera. He'll have to win a few more Super Bowls and stuff, the Brady thing and all that stuff. But I mean, he's an incredible quarterback, adaptable. He's on his way to where people are going to bring him up in the argument for the greatest of all time. And depending on who it is, how many Super Bowls he ends up with, I mean, he's been unbelievable. I mean, he's a guy, he's been so good that if he, retired after this year, he'd probably make the Hall of Fame.
Wow.
And that'd be tough. But I think he'd have a shot. Give it 1 or 2 more years, forget about it. And so, I mean, yeah, he's exceptional. He's not perfect, but I mean, every year he is the best or 1A quarterback in the NFL. Every year. And it's either the best or 1A. And I mean, that's so hard to do year in and year out. Like Hall of Fame guys like Drew Brees would have, some ebbs and flows to it, right? It wasn't just this undisputed thing. And that's kind of what's gone on with him. What did you enjoy that?
I like this because I was just going to say, like, let's do it this way. Most quarterbacks are on a trajectory like this. Mahomes is on a trajectory like this. And he's still got 5% or so to go. But he got here so fast that we're just used to it. Now people, that last 5% that he's got in upside, I think will be slower to achieve. And I think people are a little bit frustrated by it. But,
and I think you see stuff like that this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the bulk of it.
They've had a banged up Travis Kelce and a slightly banged up Tyreek Hill. Teams are playing. The entire NFL is trying to figure out how to stop Patrick Mahomes. Yeah. That is the way the whole NFL is built right now. And so I think you're going to see a whole second act of his career. And, there's going to be multiple acts to his career. And this year it's been the adapt to be a completely different style of quarterback in a very different style of system and still be 1A in the league or in the league.
The down year was 4,900 yards and 37 touchdowns, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, and just playing exceptional football. He finally had a couple of bad games this year, which was unusual. But it's just fascinating watching him morph and adapt.
Yeah, I'm enjoying that. Zach, with the Steelers not having a good run defense, which running back do you think we'll see? I thought we were going to see everybody, and then today they downgraded Clyde and they downgraded Darrell. So you guys might get your wish. You might see Derek Gore a lot.
Yeah, I'd like to see more of Jerick McKinnon just because he is so clearly faster than Gore or Williams or Clyde. I mean, in terms of burst and speed. And that added a little something to the passing game against the Broncos. Some of those short throws to the running back. And really, we haven't seen Clyde healthy enough, long enough to really see what he looks like in that role consistently, which, that becomes a thing. If you can't stay healthy multiple years in a row, people are going to start talking about that, and that's how it goes. But McKinnon, he adds something to the receiving game, and Williams has proven himself to be a really good receiver. There's no doubt about that. It's just there's always going to be those physical limitations that make it a little tougher. And McKinnon also in a couple of those outside zone runs, you can see his burst there to hit those holes, and that's something that none of them can do besides him.
I want to see them run pitch game with him and just get it out to the edge in a split second and let him go.
I think that would look good. And I think it would work well with some of the other stuff they're doing to trying to stretch teams laterally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and once you get that edge, he can exploit it. I mean, it's not Tyreek Hill, but he can exploit it.
And Gore's a good runner. I expect to see a lot of him too. I expect to see a lot of. It'll probably be kind of another committee type thing, would be my guess.
Yeah, mine too. Oregon, Seth, how much onus does it put on the Chiefs being battle tested for the last 3 years for playoff football? I think it's a huge advantage. Do you? That's what Oregon wants to know.
I would think so. Against teams that have never been there.
Right.
But even that's going to vary. Because some people, it's important to keep in mind a lot of these guys, by the time they get to this level, they have played, a lot of these guys, in bowl games. They've played for national championships. They've played for, with huge games, with championships on the line. And just because, an NFL championship feels so much bigger to us than like a state championship.
Mm-hmm.
You remember when you were young and playing for state or playing for even your league championship, it was the biggest thing in the world. And you had nerves. So these guys have been spending their whole life learning to overcome those nerves. So I don't know how much of an edge it is. I think it matters more in terms of how games start. You know what I mean? Like, I think an example would be when they played the Texans and they went down by a zillion out of the gate. They had been to the AFC Championship the year before. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They had stuff to call back on, and they kind of knew who they were. Whereas the Texans, once the Chiefs scored and then got that turnover and scored again immediately, right? There was just this immediately the tightening of the sphincter was noticeable. And so I think if you can start off games a certain way, like it won't be this way against the Steelers, because some of these guys, they've been to the playoffs. Big Ben's never going to panic. And teams tend to follow the lead of certain things. But if you're up against certain teams, I think you've got more of a chance of that. But like a guy like Joe Burrow or something, I don't think it's going to matter that much, because playing for a national championship involves just as much nerves.
Yeah, he's been up there. I will also put the caveat on it too that I think that came out to the Chiefs had the 7th highest total snaps from rookies this season. So yes, they're battle tested, but there's a significant portion of this roster that has powered through the rookie wall and is still producing. And so you got to be a little bit aware of that too. I don't think it's going to be a negative aspect, but it is something to think about.
Right.
Stevie, thank you for the super chat. He's got his popcorn ready for Gooch versus Seth in the elite possession receiver discussion.
Well, fortunately for me, I have a microphone and he doesn't.
Ah!
So to quote the wedding singer, so you will listen.
Oh,
no, there's a good discussion to be had. I think, so I wrote, and it's actually unlocked at the website, which, by the way, thanks a lot of Rogue Nation. I've seen a lot of subscribers and I've seen a lot of support in the comments and everything. I appreciate it, you guys. I would just say, and I'm more comfortable saying it here because I can say it in more words without taking up web space. That site is we're getting there. We're getting to the possibilities of maybe doing some cool stuff, and maybe one day, sooner than I ever dreamed possible. Maybe one day, it'll be like, hey, what's that? You'd like an article every day, and you'd like every player broken down? Well, I have time to do that. Now, we're still a little ways away, but it at least feels like a possibility. So thank you for your support. I do still like my day job, and I still feel like it makes a difference. So I got to keep doing that because,
it's important.
People won't prosecute themselves. Actually, no, it's the child protection part that I care about. But anyway, so I wrote, and it's unlocked. I talked about the ever evolving Tyreek Hill, and where Gooch and I joked around a little bit on Twitter is, the idea of, I called him an elite possession receiver, and so the whole article basically kind of talks about the change in how Hill has been used this year. Because basically everything that teams have done to contain Mahomes has the corollary effect of being everything that contains what Tyreek Hill is supposed to be. And I would postulate that everything teams have done is just as much about containing Tyreek Hill as it is Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes is, he's the sun. Everything orbits around him. But I got money in time. Oh, no, you might send more super chats. No! Please, Gooch. Anything but more super chats. You know what would really show me? Okay. So he is the sun around which the Chiefs' solar system of an offense revolves. But Tyreek Hill is I would argue, in terms of the setup of the offense, because Travis Kelce can do anything in the offense. He can play any kind of receiver role you want. And so in some ways, there's a consistency there. The way they've done it with Tyreek Hill, he's kind of the Jupiter of it. He's the thing that's just like everything can flow around Tyreek Hill, the deep threat, the huge plays, the Golden State Warrior comparisons where it's just like that run is coming and you just got to hold on. Tyreek Hill is a huge part of that. And so teams playing all these shells, which no, it's not just cover 2. Sometimes it's cover 3. Sometimes it's quarters. Sometimes it's cover 6, which does exist, by the way. I actually saw someone responding to someone on Twitter. I was like, that's not a real thing. I was like, well, it is.
It's one of my favorites, actually.
But it's all shells. It's all shells designed to have an over the top on the back end. And it's not just every defense. There's no defense that's like designed to let people get behind you. Like that would be stupid. But there is like, well, it's kind of like, well, we just play to keep everyone in front of us. Like, as opposed to what?
I'm gonna hit the brakes, he'll fly right by.
Exactly. It's like, what kind of defense did you think we were playing? But teams can play their safeties 3 or 4 yards deeper. And if you think 3 or 4 yards doesn't matter, it matters a tremendous football game of inches, right?
Yep.
And so everything they've done to try to cap what Tyreek Hill can do in deep and even to an extent intermediate zones should, if what people said about him in recent years, about him being, well, he's the most explosive player in football, but, he's more limited as a route runner, or his hands, because he's such a body catcher, that limits his contributions there. He's shown that to be incorrect this year. Everything teams have done should limit what he's supposed to be. And instead, he's got a zillion catches for a zillion yards, multiple touchdowns, and he's 3rd in the league in first downs achieved. He's become a chain mover.
And that's what I think is the distinction, because there are certain things you cannot fight. If they have 3 and 4 guys deep, you're not going to have the explosive chunk plays as often as you did before. So What do? You adapt your game, and now you have over 100 receptions. You're still moving the ball. You're still putting up points. It's just not in the same fashion as it was before.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if I agree if I would even call him a possession receiver. He is a receiver that can do anything. Yep. Whatever he is adapted to attack that opponent. That's all that really matters to me.
Right. And he's a unique, and it depends, so what do we mean by possession receiver? And one reason I think people often disagree is they just disagree on the starting definitions. I call a possession receiver a guy you count on, your go-to guy to move the chains. And so some people would say, well, it's a possession receiver is a guy who will never drop anything. That's not how I define it. Because Hill is a body catcher. Now, his drop rate, actually, if you look at DeAndre Hopkins' drop rate and some of the other really great wide receivers, they get targeted a ton, and their drop rate isn't always great. And Nuck catches so much, but he's had years with a bad drop rate. And so that I don't really view it quite that way. I view it as your guys that you count on to move the chains. And Hill, he has become a guy who runs all these, little ins and outs and curls and digs and just these routes that you would never dream of for him because of his ability to go out on the field. And he's learned how to do it. Now, his route running looks goofy because he can round out like a 5-yard out and still have a mile of separation.
Right.
And it's not even because I wouldn't even call it running it badly. It just looks different because he takes 400 steps for every yard that he travels, and it's so different from everyone else, and no one can cover him. And
for folks that don't understand why that's important, it's because you're taught to run crisp routes where you plant and cut quickly, not round them off, because that's how you gain the separation. Yeah. Whereas Tyreek Hill doesn't need to do that.
He literally does not. It's the most bizarre thing to watch. And then the other side with him, and the thing that I would call pushes him from being a good, if we call a possession receiver, a guy who moves the chains, guy who becomes elite, he can do stuff that other guys who are quote unquote possession receivers can't, in that he can catch the ball on a 1-yard dump off and turn, and the defender can be right in front of him, and he'll just go zip, and he'll gain 10 yards. Yeah. Whereas no one else can do that. No one else at the pro level, maybe McCole Hardman, but he doesn't have quite the same bounce through contact. He doesn't have quite the same. He has the same acceleration if he's going vertical.
In a straight line. Yes.
Yep, that stop, start, side to side. I really liked seeing them get Hardman a few more of those throws to the sideline that they were trying, those, the tunnel screens, whatever you want to call them. I wish they'd throw 5 of those to him a game. And I understand, like, if a team's really keen on it, you might be risking a wasted down. Although he's usually fast enough to at least make it to where it's not like a huge loss. It's the same as like an incomplete pass. Because, I mean, the way he accelerates up the field, he's the only guy who can do that like Hill. He just can't do it every direction. It's like, you know what McCole Hardman is? He's a rook. And Tyreek Hill is a queen. He can do it any direction. Whereas Hardman's got to be... He's a rook that can only go back and forth.
Folks, don't read anything into that, Tyreek. He's not trying to insult you.
No, a chess piece.
I get it.
It's the most
Ready?
powerful
Thank you
piece.
for your super chat. I know. Still.
Gosh.
Thank you for the super chat. I didn't see a comment from you, so if you throw one in there, we'll definitely get it. And we'll work our way while we try to distract from that comment, Seth. Kane, do you guys think Kaindoh will play against the Steelers?
Nah.
I doubt it. He needs to jump up. He was having to jump up a level to the NFL. Jumping into the playoffs, I don't think that's something you want unless there's an injury. Frey, Mahomes didn't look good versus Denver. He missed a lot of throws and was watching the rush. I don't know if that he was watching. He did have a couple, and I'm just a little tired of those chili dippers that hit the ground like 5 yards in front of the receiver because it just looks like they're coming out of his hand weird at times. And I don't know if that's a mistake or if that's just, hey, I'm not going to complete this anyway. If that's like the effective, like incomplete, I doubt it, but I've heard somebody ask that. So
sure. And I wouldn't be able to comment intelligently on it. The weekly Mahomes reviews, they've slowed down because we've got playoff content. And so I might do some of them during the playoffs, depending on how the games play out. But I'm trying to focus on, a little bit bigger issues. We know Mahomes is great. So that's another one. I'll be charting every single snap of that game, just like everyone else. And we'll be able to compare it to other games.
I like it. Mac, thank you. Ryan, who would you like to target in the first, realistically? From UGA or Bama, I assume defense. P.S. Love Pickens in the second. Yeah, Pickens is a tough one. I think he showed you the explosiveness that he still has. It's about the volume. They didn't give him enough touches, and I think that's due to the quarterback mostly. So I agree. Second is probably the top end of his range for me. I think Williams could fall all the way down to them there. But I will say this. I think Trayvon Walker brings enough inside-outside pressure that you want to consider that. I think Nakobe Dean is a guy that should he fall all the way down there, they're going to take a look at. I feel like he's a little undersized because you already have Nick Bolton. So he's got to be your Mike. Nick can't go out and survive at Sam. So you have to have somebody that can play against the tight ends in man and set that edge occasionally and that kind of thing. So I don't think he's the greatest fit. I like Walker. I could see Jordan Davis. I doubt he falls all the way to 31. But you put him in there. If you got Jaron Reid back and you had Davis as well, I mean, pick anybody on the front. Could it be Wyatt? Could it be Davis? Could it be Quay? Could it be any of them? The guy, honestly, that made the most upscale for me in the championship game was Tyndall. I think Tyndall's a top 100 pick now. So at this point, I thought that performance made a big deal for him. So yeah, take your pick there. On the Alabama side, I think Christian Harris has earned himself a first round grade. I could be wrong. I think, by the way, I think Seen is probably a second rounder as well. At least right now. I haven't gone through all the film, but thanks, Mac. Got me talking too much about draft. I'll go on for a while. Gooch says elite, huh? Okay. I just want to put that out there. I was wanting to do the beard thing. Guy, thanks for all the content you guys do. Thank you for watching it. We appreciate you, Guy. Do you think that Andy has been playing a chess game all season with the play calling while everyone thinks that he's playing checkers? Where do you think you are in the play calling, Seth?
I've been much more. Play calling is such an easy thing to blame when things don't go well. Okay. And so, like, the first 4 or 5 games of the season, people were talking about Andy. It's like they're turning the ball over at a historic pace. And still, they were averaging like 30 a game. Do you have any idea how hard that is to do? And, I mean, it's unbelievably hard. And I do think he did some things, and we've talked about a lot here, some things that made their lives a little harder than it could have been. But, like, I'm not sure I really buy this idea that the play calling was just awful. I think it's a really easy thing to go to. I don't think it's any coincidence that anytime the Chiefs start to lose, there's suddenly this fear that Andy Reid's forgotten how to call plays. And then, hey, they start winning again. Oh, he must have figured it out. Well, maybe a little. There's some adaptivity there. I will say this. I don't think Andy Reid was playing a chess game when they were 3-4. Like,
Yeah, I don't
they
know.
had to win. When they were 3-4, there were like 4 games in a row there. Like, you got to win. Like, you got to win to get to 4-4. You got to win to get to 5-4. And we talked about it. Like, these were like, you have to win or your season is over type games. And
I
they
will
had a
say
bunch
this.
of those in a row.
I will say this about Andy and about Spagnuolo as well. While I agree with you, I do think that there's a notable difference for me between this season and between 18 and 19 in terms of the speed at which they did decide to adapt. And he didn't forget how to play calls, but I think he was slower in changing what he was going to do in order to just get rid of the things that were causing the issues. I think Spagnuolo was slow to adapt again, especially in the secondary, about making some of the changes he needed to make. They got there, but it felt like it took longer this season.
I agree.
Okay.
And what does that mean? Does that mean it's chess or checkers? Does that mean they were a little surprised? I have no idea. But I'm guessing he wasn't sandbagging, at least at that part of the season. Yeah. So I don't know. I think I am curious what we'll see if there was anything held back for the playoffs, though, because there usually is.
Yeah. And folks, I do want to go back. I forgot in the discussion of Tyreek Hill and all the adaptation there, you guys can see that conversation that they're going to have. It'll be on the Roguehead Huddle. I don't know if it's going to be this week or next week, but Roguehead Huddle is Friday. It's Stevie and Gooch and their guest and their show, how they go about watching this team, what they're into. Don't miss that. You can talk to Gooch and Stevie in the chat. Aaron Morrow, our fearless mod, is here as well. And if you want to get more, you can join in the memberships. You get extra videos. You get frank talk from both Dan and I, and you get membership into the Discord if you join at the rookie level or above. And all you got to do at that point, join, be a member, rookie level, send me an email at this address, rgrpodcast@gmail.
Nice.
And yes, Aaron, I am going to try to figure out how to automate that again. I haven't made much progress this week, though. So thank you again, Guy. We appreciate you.
And also, I just wanted to add in here, Ryan, elite, a select group that is superior in terms of ability or qualities to the rest of a group or society. Elite. Yes, Tyreek Hill is elite at getting first downs because he is of a select group that is superior in terms of ability or qualities to the rest of the wide receivers in the NFL. He's among an elite group of, say, 5 or 6 guys.
I like that. I feel like you're not talking to me, so I'm going to move through that. Tom, thank you for the support. Glad to be the first super chat of the night for the first time. Great. I'm thankful for you very much. It is a juicy show, and it seems like it's only going to get a little juicier as these two go on and on through the chat, so that should be fun.
I'm excited.
Thank you, Tom. Appreciate you as always. Johnny, hope you're doing well up there. Finally made it to a live Seth chat. It's a different experience, brother. I tell you. I air drum and do the same thing. So I do too. If you guys ever watch the Locked On shows, mostly on the draft show, but even on the Chiefs, like I'm usually doing this when the camera cuts back in. So I feel you, but thank you, Johnny. Gooch, compared to who? AJ Green or Waller or who?
The hundreds of NFL wide receivers that are ranked beneath him and getting first downs.
Gotcha. Those guys.
Those
Zulu.
guys.
Thank you for the super chat. Go Chiefs.
Go Chiefs.
I like it. And if you guys haven't seen this, you can get a little Chiefs Kingdom on the back.
Oh, look at that.
So those are fun too. And I didn't put Go Chiefs because you can't like use their logo, but you can use their word. So you guys will see some new stuff coming too. Compared to Thielen. Okay. Yep. Gotcha.
Him too.
I do feel like him too. He's one of them guys.
Yeah, he's one of them. He's one of the hundreds of receivers. Tyreek Hill did a better job getting first downs, being ranked 3rd in the NFL, next to Justin Jefferson and other elite possession receivers. I'm gonna keep poking.
I like this. Judge, how do you guys feel about Wiley at right tackle for the postseason? Can't trust Long to stay healthy. I think unless they come up against somebody with elite speed rush, I think they're going to be okay. I said that last season before the Super Bowl too, so take that with a grain of salt. Seth, how do you feel about the right tackle spot?
I am curious about something. This is something I should know. Remmers, is he done for the year?
He's eligible to come back. No one seems to have any inclination of when or if that will happen.
Yeah, and so it seems like he's done. That's a bummer. I think Remmers is a better player than Wiley in terms of consistency. I think Wiley's played pretty well. I think we're all a little nervous because he was playing pretty well at the right tackle spot until the Super Bowl. I would just note what happened at the Super Bowl was not Andrew Wiley's fault. Like it wasn't just him. I mean, it was a bunch of backups.
Yeah, it was a symptom, right?
Yeah, and there's just and so yes, did he get beat? Yes, but the team couldn't help him. Normally, like this year, if they face the exact same pass rush, which they won't, because Barrett is gone.
Right.
I mean, the team can adjust by saying, well, we don't really need to help the interior. Brown needs help in some snaps in some specific ways, but we know no one's bull rushing him or rushing inside. And so, we can send chips his way. So we can keep sliding protection to help you. You know what I mean? Like they can help you, and they couldn't help him. He was put in a terrible spot there. And so I feel fine about Wiley at right tackle. He's definitely, you have Brown, you have a quality player. Joe Tooney, you have a very, very quality player. Creed Humphrey, you've got an elite player. Trey Smith, you've got a very quality player. And then with Wiley, you've got, I think, an average right tackle, depending on the game. So it looks like the weak spot, but if Wiley is your weak spot, you're doing okay.
Exactly. There is no below average player on that starting five. There is no guy that you have to compensate for constantly.
Right.
This is
regardless of matchup. He's a guy
Mm-hmm.
that you have to compensate for if you're up against a high quality matchup, but that's a lot of guys. There just aren't a lot of Trent Williams walking around out there.
Exactly. And Joe Tryon, by the way, who should probably be playing for Shaq Barrett, is not a guy that I think that they're going to have to really adapt to. But that's if they get there, folks. And I know there's some other questions about that coming up here.
Well, yeah, first he's got to worry about TJ Watt, who's healthy this time.
Exactly.
It's a big
Although
deal.
rib injuries have a tendency to linger. So yes, he's healthy for the most part. Little bang up, little chip from a back will change that. I'll tell you that real quick. There is an attrition aspect to this ballgame. Johnny, thank you very much for the super chat. Appreciate you. Before the draft, pick two players in one position group for Seth to review film on. Okay. One that you think is good fit for KC and the other not, and see if Seth agrees after watching the film. New series, you're welcome. Thank you, Johnny. That's a great idea. I think we both like that. So sold. I just always wanted to say that tonight. Bill, thank you for the super chat. Thoughts on Sam Williams from Ole Miss? Charges were dropped. Never a good way to start an evaluation. Teammates love him. What round would he be interested in? The charges, I didn't look very far into that. Quite frankly, it knocked him down the board quite a bit. Any of that off-field stuff, I don't think the Chiefs have a whole lot of room for, to tell you the truth. And if he's the player that I'm thinking of, I have seen him play a couple of times. I thought he was a mid-rounder when I did, and we'll see if I come back around to him. I'm going to do, on average, I do about 20 edge rushers every year. So we'll see if we get to that. Right now, he's down below that Mendoza line for me. Let's see. Next, thank you, Bill. Chugga, thank you very much. Appreciate you. I'm totally in favor of signing Melvin Ingram to another contract. I think he's found a home. What do you think? Seth, my battery's going to die, so I'm going to let you answer this.
I for one thing, I think your name rules. For another thing, I think with Melvin Ingram, there's going to be discussions there, and there should be. He's certainly earned another couple of years, or another year at least. He's at that weird phase of his career to where teams are going to be kind of waiting for the drop-off to occur because you don't want to be a year too late. That said, I think he's certainly played very well, and they should have that conversation with him. It's going to be a money issue, though. He's not going to want to pay. He's not going to want to play for the same amount that he made this year because he's shown that he can contribute. With NFL contracts, it's always about what comes next. And what his agent is going to argue is that he's shown how valuable he is to the system, how good he is running a lot of Spagnuolo stunts, how he's strong against the pass and as a run defender, and what that's added to the Chiefs. So he's going to come with a pretty strong bargaining position. At the same time, barring a really standout playoff performance, I'm not sure another team's going to be looking to overpay Ingram, because despite everything he does, guys that are built like him, that are a little bit undersized or fall a little bit outside of physical specifications for positions, they have to be better to get paid. They can't just be good. They have to be better. And so I don't think that Kansas City is necessarily risking some team, offering Ingram a 3-year, $35 million deal or something crazy like that. But I think if he has a really strong playoff run, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be like, it'll be a story. And they'll be hyped to it because, hey, Melvin, they traded for Melvin Ingram, especially if let's say they do win the Super Bowl, right? Or make a deep playoff run. They traded for Melvin Ingram midseason and the defense turned around. That's going to come up. And that he's probably going to have more interest than he did this last year. And so he's not going to be necessarily a dirt cheap guy, but I do think he's a quality player that you don't have to pay like high level money for in all likelihood. So I think they should try to keep him around because it also allows them to figure out what to do with Frank Clark and his contract.
Yeah, I don't think it'll take that long. That's just me. Thank you, Miss Jones. Appreciate you. Thanks for being here. We're going to speed up a little bit, Seth, because we got a number of super chats that we need to get through.
Holy cow, let's do it.
I'm recording the draft show at the top of the hour. So, folks, we're going to be out of here on time, I guarantee. So, let's do this. What's the difference between Jameson Williams and McCole Hardman? Two things, Don. One, a lot of experience. McCole didn't become a wide receiver until I think it was his sophomore year at Georgia. He played 2 seasons as a wide receiver. And that's why Jameson Williams can stack receivers better. He can get into their hips, get them behind him so that he has the advantage. He's better, quite frankly, in tracking over his shoulder from what I've seen so far. And again, this is mostly in broadcast film. I've only got one game of all 22 so far on Williams, so I do have to look some more at that. And the other thing is general adaptation to what he's getting in coverage. Jameson Williams can sight read better. He can make adjustments better right now, at least in terms of the scheme that they run in Alabama versus what McCole does in this scheme. Granted, Chiefs scheme is much more complex, but to do apples to apples, that's about the only way you can go about it. So that's what I see, Don. Thank you for the question, though. That's great. Gooch, you got a microphone? Okay, I came back to this one like that. Jaden, Clyde Edwards-Helaire limited practice today. Yep. Will he play Sunday? Don't know. I'm leaning towards less and less. I don't think they're going to risk it. I think if a guy's healthy and he's able to practice all week, he'll play. If not, they'll probably lighten the load at the very least. Gooch, please subscribe to Seth's stuff. It really is great content and makes for good reads. There is no beef. This is all friendly.
Oh, yeah. If anyone's hearing this and thinking that it's anything but joking around with someone I like and someone who likes me, I hope you like me, Gooch. You seem like a really good guy. No, we're just joking around. It's fun. It's fun to talk trash. It's fun. Everyone should have more fun with sports. And, you know, I have the advantage of being right. And so but no, I honestly, I'm excited because we'll get a chance to chat about it and we'll figure out, you know, where the miss is in terms of possession receivers. Because there are certain skill sets with Hill because he's had some drops this year that'll drive you crazy. And, you know, for some people, if that's where your definition, it's got to be a guy that has an incredibly low drop percentage or, you know, low drop percentage is more of a hands catcher. I can see why you wouldn't define Tyreek Hill as that type of dude.
Yeah, makes sense. Thank you, guys. Again, you can watch that at Rogue Head Huddle with Stevie and Gooch and Seth. I'm looking forward to that myself. Tom, thank you again. Chiefs have been doubted all season, maybe justly so. All the more reason to go into the playoffs with a chip on your shoulder, play angry and focused and win. I completely agree. It was just on television a couple nights ago, that old movie with Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes. And he is one of those. I think most players are guys that play better pissed off. So, Seth, you have no idea. It's called White Men Can't Jump. It's okay. That's the truth about me. So,
wait, you pissed off? You're not. You can't. You're not hearing the music, Ryan. You're not hearing it. What? Don't White Man Can't Jump me. Sometimes
you look confused. I was worried.
Sometimes when you win, you really lose.
You do.
Sometimes, okay, we could do this all day.
Yeah, I miss you. Oh, that's great. Aaron, are Gordon's hands suspect at this point? Yeah, I don't know what it is. I've never seen him like not pay attention to so much stuff in my life.
You know, I think with Gordon, he was out of the league, in the league, out of the league, in the league. He doesn't look like the same guy he looked like in 2019 with Seattle in terms of. And this is like ethereal, psychobabble, whatever. Like, I don't know. But, I mean, it just looks like it's in his head at this point. He looks like someone who's pressing. And I think he's maybe not even the same athlete he was 2 years ago. And that's tough. Yeah. I mean, it happens.
And there's a preparation aspect to it, too. I think it's concentration. I think it's knowing where you're supposed to be. I think he's got a lot on his mind about understanding what his spot is. But
yeah, it's a tough offense. He's had to change the way he plays. And I think it's just tough. I think you can almost see the wheels turning as the ball comes towards him.
Yeah, it's a little out there. DeBaby's baby. Do you think that we can get a position to draft Nakobe Dean? I don't think so. I think that's going to require probably mid-teens, if not a touch higher, to get that done. And again, with taking back-to-back linebackers in these last two drafts, the guys that you expect to start in your nickel next year, the next guy has to be an outside player, in my opinion, not a middle. And that's what I think Dean is. Dean's got the speed to play outside. I don't think he has the girth to set the edge. I don't think he has the size to really be able to take on NFL blocks out there, because the more I watch him, the less happy I am with the way he takes on blocks. Stevie, thank you. I got the Patrick price on CIT, and I got $1 off per month for each kid I have. I like it. Speaking of $3 more on Tuesday, need a bigger discount, Seth.
Hey, congratulations, Stevie. That's awesome.
Newborns, they're always fun. I hope everybody's doing well in your world, Stevie. Let us know. Josh, have we seen the last of Colin Saunders this year as a Chief? I don't think so. I think he has one more year on his contract, and I don't think that they would cut him unless...
No, he was playing well enough that they should keep him around next year. I mean, I like what he was doing. And it's just, stuff happens. Guys get hurt.
I guess that's what it is. And it was very cryptic. Like, it wasn't really defined for a long time. Then we heard it was the knee, and a man that size that does rely on his athleticism, even at that size, that knee's a tough one.
That's tough.
Let's hope he can rebound next year.
Yep.
Judge, who would you like to see win the NFC? Who do you want to play in the Super Bowl? I want to see him play the Packers. I want to see he and Aaron go head to head.
Sure. I want the Bucks. I'm picturing myself in 15 years having a conversation with someone about who, as Patrick Mahomes is retiring, and having a conversation with someone who's, saying Mahomes, Brady's the GOAT. I'm saying Mahomes is the GOAT. And I point out how Mahomes has destroyed so many things in terms of records and stuff. And they say, and let's say Mahomes has won 5 Super Bowls or 6 Super Bowls. And they say, yeah, but the GOAT beat him head to head. That will cause me physical pain.
Okay. Fair enough. Hi, Miss Holly. Glad you made it. Hope you're doing well. Scotty, how are you? Who you'll scream at less, Neiman or Sorensen? In this game, I'm guessing Sorensen, because I don't think he's going to have to play that much.
Yeah, I think they'll probably end up with Neiman on the field a fair amount. He played quite a bit against the Steelers the last time, if I'm remembering.
Yeah.
In terms of who's a better player right now, I think it's Neiman. But yeah.
I can get down with that. Frey, thank you again. I know he is not 5'10", but Nakobe Dean is a beast and extremely intelligent. He is. He has everything you want in a college player. He triggers quick. He changes direction well. He understands his defense. He's a motivational leader. He got in Tyndall's face, a guy that's 30 pounds and 4 inches taller than him, and basically cussed him out and got him to play better. That is a skill that not everybody has. So, there was a lot of good things about him. I just can't see them taking Nick and Nakobe and putting them on the field at the same time. And I don't know, maybe I'm not seeing it.
Speaking of can't see it, I can't see you getting through these super chats.
Knock it off, dude. Why are we getting more? Oh, good Lord. We're getting more. Okay, we're going to have to speed up, Seth. Packers Chiefs in the Super Bowl, right? Yes, I hope so. Will be the State Farm. What will the State Farm commercial be? I don't know.
Some buddy thing. They're traveling to the Super Bowl together, and they do a bunch of things that require throwing stuff at stuff.
I'd like to see them do like the whole road trip, like Blues Brothers thing. We got to get to the game kind of deal. That'd be funny. CV Keys, thank you. Why, Seth? Gooch is an elite level member. Now he just gave the definition of elite. Now he'll never shut up. Gooch is our elite level member, folks. If you want to join him, you can go click that join button there underneath Seth and his stretch. Speaking of Gooch and our elite, yes, he is elite. Not many people call me Tasty. I appreciate you guys. As is the rest of the crew, including Jeff and Big Chief Sean, everybody that contributes around here. Appreciate you all, you guys. Even though they're all versions of a hill, is not Justin Jefferson, Cup, Nuke, Evans, or Brown. Before meltdown. Okay. Before meltdown. Okay. Very, very, very good. Just not my version of elite. Okay. This is going to be fun. I get to sit back. I'm going to be on a plane, so I'll probably be able to watch it. Mac, thank you for your super chat and support, buddy. Do you think that this team is better than the 18-20 run? I feel like it is on paper, especially O-line, D-line, and LBs, but it hasn't shown up to play yet.
Maybe they should let the best linebackers play all the snaps.
Maybe the best safeties too.
Yeah, maybe the best safeties. How bad can Armani Watts be? Every time I've seen him, I know we only have 4 minutes left. Every time I've seen Armani Watts, now granted, this is preseason and garbage time or in meaningless games, but like last year in that final game, it was meaningless and the Chargers beat them and everything. Watts looked like he played well to me.
Yeah, I didn't see anything stand out.
What specifically? We know he's more athletic than Sorensen. And every time he plays, he seems to be around the ball. What's the worst that could happen? He might suck. Okay. I get that. But Sorensen's playing badly. That bugs me. Because I really liked Armani Watts coming out. And it's just never felt like he's gotten a fair shake. Maybe he's not Armani,
maybe he's not a great practice player. That's fair. I was going to say, and Armani has a knack for the ball, too. So you can't say that it's about how Dan comes up with some special plays at times.
Yeah, Armani's had a knack for the ball since college. But whatever, I guess.
Thank you, Mac. Golden Tau, if we were to lose Honey Badger, what moves would you like to see us make? There are a couple of good safeties that could come in and play like the robber role. I don't know if any of them are specifically as good at dropping into the nickel as Matthew has been. Daxton Hill is a name that comes to mind. I like Hamilton up high, but he's played some nickel as well. Like there's a number of guys. At the end of the day, you saw a glimpse of it a couple weeks ago where Juan dropped down into the robber and actually made some plays. So you could see them try to get another true center field free safety and let Juan take over that role. We'll just have to see. But any of those, as long as they're getting younger and they're getting more prone to take the ball away, I want guys with PBUs. Adam, thank you for your support. Ryan and Seth, top 4 favorite styles of beer. Seth doesn't drink, so I'll take 8.
When I drank, beer took way too long. I never saw the point, so I was mostly a hard alcohol guy. I had a problem. There's a reason I don't drink. So Ryan, you go ahead.
Let's see, barley wine Kolsch. Man, I love triples and Golden Strongs from Belgium. I do like German Hefts. And I do like no, I like English browns. I mean, there's not a whole lot of beer other than sours that I don't really dig. So that's why I make them all. Steve, should we bring back Nagy? I could be open to that, but I will say this. I think the better pairing is that Eric Bieniemy calls him and says, me and Matt will come run your team when you hire me. I'd like to see them pair up.
That could be good.
Yeah, you okay with that?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be cool bringing back Nagy too. Look, Andy Reid, similar to Bill Belichick in different ways because he doesn't do personnel. Andy Reid is the Chiefs' offensive system, and that's not a slight at Eric Bieniemy, who I really like. I like Matt Nagy, I like Doug Peterson, but Andy Reid is Andy Reid's system. It's his mind, and so I mean, I like anyone that he likes to help him. I like him bringing on anyone that will challenge him. That's why I'd love to bring on someone like weird, like Matt Canada or something, like someone that just does weird stuff. And I don't really love Canada's system for the pros, but someone that would challenge him to because I think he takes other systems and makes them better. He's so unique in that regard.
Yeah, hey, I'm with you. Tom, thank you. I'd love to see this team play with the intensity we've never seen before this year. Living in Nashville, I want to stick it to the T-boys down here. I hope you're right, and I'd love that. Titans are going to be a challenge, I think. And last one, so we will clear out of here on time. Bill, thank you very much. Who would you vote for if you had an MVP vote? How significant is that Patrick faced 79% light boxes and still had 4,900 yards? Who'd you vote for?
I think I would have to. I think I'd probably have to give it to Rodgers. I think Mahomes had a couple bad games this year, and Rodgers didn't really have any bad games. And I mean, it's such a weird phrase, most valuable. Either one of them could have it. Tom Brady could win it. and it would be fair.
I guess. Yeah. I true would probably vote for Rodgers though.
Yeah.
When the Chiefs got to see them without him, that was a big plus.
Yeah, that was a huge plus.
And I
yeah,
it is what it is.
It is what it is. Hey, before we cut loose, Aaron, make sure you send me a link to that to that email address I gave you on Twitter, because
oh yeah,
I need to be able to find you.
I hope you guys are ready for that. That'll be Roguehead Huddle tomorrow. I will have a post-game stream from Phoenix. It won't look quite the normal, but because I'll be traveling, but we will have one, so don't miss the breakdown after the game. Hope you guys are ready for this. It could be the Ben Roethlisberger retirement. So everybody have a great couple of days. Until then, we'll talk to you afterwards. Thank you, Seth. Later.